Hi everyone, it's Sean here. I'm making another quick video just to touch on a whole lot of things. As you can see, we are doing a Sunfire Castle here today. Now, this state is very peaceful, so we actually rotate the Sunfire Castles between the top 5 alliances on an, turn basis, going from 1 to 5 back to 1. But I do want to just touch on a bunch of general helpful tips. As you can see here, when there are big battles or you have large casualties in fights like this, it's best to heal in small batches. Now, depending on how many active people you have on tapping help, you might do this in as little as like 20 minutes or as high as like an hour and 10 minutes. Generally, you want to have this around like 40 minutes or so that people can keep pressing tap, and then you heal your entire batch of troops a lot faster than trying to heal it all in one go and having to wait hours. I'm gonna touch on kind of one of the most important and most frustrating to have to repeat things about sending the right heroes. The reason there are right heroes and wrong heroes is because when you join a rally, the rally leader has all of their regular solo attack stats added to the rally. But if you look down here, you have up to 9 expedition skills that get added from rally captain, which is the person leading the rally or garrison, and up to 4 skills that get filled in depending on which heroes join that rally, right? Now, only the 4 highest level first skills of the hero captains will be effective in battle. Now, what this means by first skill is the skill that's on the top right for every hero. So if you look at this one, this is Patrick's, and this is a level 4 skill, 20% health. And this one is Jesse at level 4 for 20% damage. Now, this is just a random rally people are doing for fun, so it's not being done well or organized well. But what you generally want to do is for attack rallies, you want to always send Jessie, because she brings the damage of the troops up by 25%. And if you have 4 Jessies being applied to that rally, that's double the damage for that rally. If you send the wrong hero and that hero has a high enough level skill, like say Molly, it will actually weaken the rally, because it will, instead of having 25% damage bonus, you're going to have stun chance. Now, the way this game works is when you're attacking, your attack bonus is more important, and when you're defending, it's mostly your infantry that take the brunt of it, and your defensive stats are more important. The best attack heroes are Jesse, and then Jasser, Seo, and Geronimo. The best defense hero is Patrick, and then Sergey, and then you have heroes like Philly that have hybrid stats. So let me just show this quickly. So Patrick gives 25% health up. Sergey gives 20% damage taken down. Bahidi also gives 20% damage taken down, so he's an option as well, but he doesn't have as high of defensive stats as Sergey. Well Spoken is a little bit of a weird one, because he has enemy damage down, which is kind of similar, but not as good. Let's see, what else do we have? Right, so I said Philly. She's a bit of a hybrid. She has attack up and defense down, but because it is hybrid, it's not the best in slot, but it is viable if you don't have other options, or you have her at 5 stars. Now, when you are sending a rally, the bonuses from technology and chief gear and things like that are only counted from the person leading the rally. It works the same way as if they were solo attacking. So the bonus stats that you see in battle reports, and I'll pull this up in just 1 second. This comes from a mixture of the technology, the chief gear, the chief charms, as well as the hero equipment and widgets that they have on, right? So what I mean by hero equipment and widgets, if you go into a hero and look at their gear, you'll notice the first few lines tend to be for the hero itself, right? But then you'll always have a line at the bottom that's for the hero stats, for the troop stats. So this one, helmets and shoes always give lethality. and gloves and belts give health. So for infantry units, you usually want to level up their gloves or infantry heroes, you want to level up their gloves and belts first. For offensive ones, you want to prioritize their hats and their shoes. Now this also gives both lethality and health, their widgets. So leveling up their widgets makes sure that when they are leading a rally or solo attack, that those bonuses get added on. So 30% here for marksmen, 62% here for infantry, and those numbers basically just add up on top of what you have for chief gear, which is these numbers added up. As well as chief charms, of course, and I'll just show that too for a quick second. Now, this is the reason why it's very important for whales and rally leaders to focus on the battle tree, because their stats is what kind of leads that alliance's rallies into victory. However, for players that are not spending money and are free to play, you don't need to focus as much on battle tech. It's actually maybe more beneficial for you to focus on growth, so you can level up your troops and your furnace faster. Let's see, what other tips do I have? Why don't I talk a little bit about what Sunfire Castle is and how it works. So every server around, I think like closer to 2 months in, or 1.5 months in, starts having battles for what's called the Sunfire Castle every 2 weeks. And what this does is it allows one person to become the president for 2 weeks until the Sunfire Castle is up for grabs again. Now, the winning alliance gets to pick the president, or the R5 gets to pick the president from that alliance. Typically it goes to the leader of the alliance, but it doesn't have to. And once the Sunfire Castle has been taken, you can actually, where is this? Or I guess right now, because it's up for grabs, I can't show it to you guys, but there are minister positions and jail positions that give buffs that can be applied for by anyone. Depending on the state, you might have an approval system, or it's just an automatic sign up. And the leader has the president has a few extra perks, like they can exchange things for gems, I believe. And they can also set statewide buffs once in a while. And the most typical thing is to set healing for the whole state right after Sunfire Castle, because this battle can result in a lot of casualties depending on how it's organized. What we do in this server here is we let somebody have it for almost 3 hours, and then they leave and come back so that it doesn't automatically end in 3 hours, because if somebody holds it for 3 hours consecutively, the battle's automatically over. If they don't, it's a 6-hour battle, and whoever held it the longest ends up winning the castle. So what we do in our state, since we rotate, is we give somebody the castle for like 2 hours and 55 minutes, and then another like 6 minutes, and then we start a free-for-all, just complete mayhem, and spend the next day healing. Now for the actual fight, you'll notice that there's the main castle here, and there's 4 turrets in each corner. Now what these turrets do, as you see the little countdown here, is every few minutes they will shoot a cannonball at the castle, injuring a whole bunch of troops that are garrisoned in there. Now if the alliance that owns the castle also owns the turret, that turret will not attack the castle. So it's good to take castles as both a defensive and offensive method, but the priority of course is always how long you hold the castle. The way points work is there's 3 ways to earn points during this event. One of them is by how many troops you lose, unfortunately. One of them is by how many troops you kill, which is the carnage points. And another one is occupation points, which is basically just how long you've sat in a building, whether it's the castle or the turrets themselves. So you do want to make sure that you're able to get all the points up to 6.7 million if possible, because it is a good way to get chief charms. But also there is a ranking system that gives more chief charm upgrade material. And if you notice, like even if you're like in the top 100, you still get a decent chunk. Yeah, so that's it. I'm just gonna emphasize one last time, right heroes for attacks and rallies, whether it's bear, whether it's castle, or whatever. Jessie is the best one, with her 25% offense and her other skills. There's also the option of Jasser and Seo with the similar skill. Anyone that says damage up or attack up on their top right skill, which is what's considered a first expedition skill, is an attack hero, and anyone with defense or health or damage taken down is a defensive hero, and you use defensive for garrison and offensive for rallies. One thing that's important to do is actually switch your troops around, your heroes around after you attack to make sure that they're now Patrick instead of Jessie. The rally leader will always use their best heroes. The best way to switch around is usually have people do it one by one so that the garrison doesn't end up being too empty. Now, a quick way to do it actually is you can always send a garrison and dispatch troops, right, with the correct heroes. Oh, and we also have troop ratios in the balance button where you can send how many infantry, lancer, and marksmen you send as a percentage. And for attacking, you usually want to actually do the inverse of this, right, which is 50% marksmen, 30% infantry. And the reason for this is marksmen counter infantry, and infantry are the best heroes for defending. So if you're defending, you send 50% infantry. If you're attacking, you send 50% marksmen. But right now, since I'm sending a garrison for defense, I'm going to send 50% infantry. You would press deploy, and just before it gets there, you would actually recall the original troops that are in there. I'm not going to go ahead and do that now, but if I were to do that, what would happen is this march would replace the one that's currently in the turret, which is another fast way to exchange to the correct heroes, at least as long as you have enough troops for 2 marches. Okay, I think that's about everything I could cover right now. I don't want to make this video too long. I might record another video once the actual battle starts in a free-for-all fashion. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this information was helpful.